This is the SHIB coin 1 month overview reading for the month of April 2025. It's currently March 14th, 2025, 10:40 p.m. Eastern Time. SHIB coin at the time of this reading is 0.0000126555, which that's 4 zeros after the decimal point, followed by a 12657. And the shuffle video for the SHIB coin reading for April was created on March 8th, 2025 at 9:56 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, what we're going to get into in this video is the overall trend direction and chart behavior for the month of April. We're going to give you chart behavior to look out for that'll form near the month's highest high, and chart behavior to look out for that'll form near the month's lowest low. We're also going to give you the hour-by-hour sequence of chart events, and then one of the best trades that we see in the month of April at the end of this video. Before we get into the trade and the hour-by-hour, we're also going to actually go back and review February's reading and see how we did for accuracy to give you guys a good idea of that. And then we'll come back, we'll do the hour-by-hour and give you one of the best trades. Now, it's important to understand, guys, we're predicting the sequence of chart events. The timing will usually be on point to the day, but there's plenty of examples where you're going to need to give, especially in a crypto reading, you're going to need to give it plus or minus 1 or 2 days, maybe even 3 in some extreme cases, but you're going to need to give it a little wiggle room. The sequence of chart events will remain accurate nonetheless if that happens. So it's important to pay attention to the sequence of chart events over the timing. Timing is secondary. This is one of the main reasons why I do not recommend trading this information on your own. It took me more than a score to be able to trade this information well after I was predicting highs and lows well. You know, like there's a lot more to trading just knowing up and down. So anyhow, when you have access to our monthly access subscription, you have access to our Discord trade alerts for SHIBcoin and a bunch of other monthly readings. And in real time on the Discord trade alerts, I update people if there's changes. There's also a chat channel there for monthly access subscribers. They can ask me questions at any time. And then we've got a link to the live trading view chart drawings where we actually draw entry and exits and peaks and valleys and stuff like that ahead of time usually. All of those, that's all game-changing services. I'll show you how to get that stuff at the end of the video. You should really just treat this video as a guide to our expectations of what should take place in April. But if there's deviations, it's the Discord where you're going to be kept up to date. All right, so now before we get into it, I just want to make sure you're aware the whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. We do that by following through on the rule of karma. You go to our website, Tarot for Traders, click on the resources tab. 5% of all profits from each profitable trade should be donated forward to one of these charities. 5% of all the profits from all profitable trades should be donated back to the channel through one of these links. You're in essence following through on the 10% tithing rule of wealth, and you're cutting it twofold. You're making sure some goes forward and keeps the flow of abundance going on through the universe. You're making sure some of it comes back to the channel to say thank you and express gratitude. And gratitude begets gratitude, my friends. Leaving you at 90%, make sure to spend that 90% out of love. Following those rules makes you an angel investor of the channel. Universe is going to send it back to you tenfold for following through. Not to mention, if you're regularly doing that, you'll definitely catch my attention because those are the type of people I want to know, the ones with integrity. All right, so let's get into it. The overall theme and behavior for SHIBcoin in April, we have this is the abundance card in the theme position is it can be a couple things. So usually it's an important peak of some kind, and it'll either be like a new all-time high, or it'll be like a new peak that like breaks a downward trend. So like you'll have lows, and then it'll be like the first new high after all those lows. Really depends on the other circumstances of the reading, which we'll look at in more detail as we progress. That move higher through key resistance, staying above it briefly, and then breaking back down through it shortly thereafter, creates like a capital A in the English language, where you've got the horizontal price level as like the horizontal line through the A. And then it's crossed with the failed attempt to break through key resistance, followed by a decline through key support. Everything that I talk about, resistance, support, big moves, all of that stuff, peaks, troughs, this is all going to be on the scale of a multi-day chart with one-day candlesticks unless otherwise specified. Now, behavior around the highest high, we should see a period of sideways rotation near the high and a sharp drop that'll stand out in that period of sideways rotation. There's likely to be some sort of fake out or shakeout there as well. something intentional, make us think we're going to do the wrong thing. So probably in the case of a high signification position, probably making us think we're going to go higher. Behavior around the lowest low, we should see 3 pokes through the same trend line. Usually it's a horizontal resistance, but sometimes it's a sloped trend line. So in any case, 3 pokes through the same trend line followed by a sharp drop off of the 3rd poke, taking us into lows for the month. All right, so we're going to get into the day-by-day sequence of chart events. Before I do that, let's take a look and see how we did for February. And I think this was a pretty well done reading. This is a good example of what I mean by the sequence of chart events remains accurate, even when you need to give it plus or minus a day here or there of wiggle room, right? Because we've got highs at the very beginning of the month, right? And then we come back close to highs. If you take out this one candlestick, basically we're back at highs here. Mid-month. There's a lowest low thus far in between those highs, and then we've got lower lows at the end of the month. So that's basically what happened. We had the high a couple days earlier than where I expected it. There was also a lowest low in there that I dipped just temporary that I missed. Interesting. Sometimes I don't see it, guys. I didn't see it there, but in either case, then we move to the upside, and there's this is that trough represented here on the 10th, and then we have peaks here on the 15th, 16th. I had it for the 16th, 17th, 18th, so we're a couple days off there. And then we go into lowest lows on the 24th. I was off by a day there. We go into even lower price levels right around the last day of the month, and we were pretty much on point there, guys. So this was a pretty solid reading with a couple of plus or minus wiggle room areas, but even so, a good trade would have been, let's see here. So revisited highs here on the 18th, making us think we're going to go higher. Oh, we're over here. It's a little late. Even so, if you'd opened up a short position there, you would have been able to close out of the short position on the 24th or on the 25th. Probably the 25th is the trade day. Or you could have held it, risked it, and held it to the end of the month. But that would have been a pretty significant, profitable trade. The 28th. Yeah, this was a relatively solid reading, guys. And if you're wondering, the February reading, it was created on January 10th, 2025, 12:14 a.m. Eastern Time. This is an example of the type of chart drawings that you get as part of the monthly access subscription. And you can see we're not always right. SHIB's coin's one that we haven't been so hot on. We're usually a lot better, and I gray out the ellipses if they end up not panning out. But basically, we're expecting to see price levels in here. Reds is where we should see a reversal to the upside. Greens is where we should see a reversal to the downside. Even so, that gives you the circles on a 1-month scale. The bigger the circle, the greater the time frame of the reading that it's based on. Pretty solid stuff, guys. All right, so let's get into it. On the first, we've got a decline through multiple support levels. And a trough early in the day on the second with a rally out of that trough. There's a day trade opportunity I might talk about at the end of this video, but there's a rally out of that trough that turns over, and then we decline back into a trough on the third through multiple support levels, pausing midway through the decline with some sideways rotation before breaking down through more supports. There's also probably somebody speaking early in the day on the third, and what they're speaking on should not be relied upon or trusted. There's another trough early in the day on the fourth. Looks like a move to the upside to a failed attempt to break through resistance, followed by a decline through key support back down into a trough at the end of the day. So a peak midday on the 4th. And then on the 5th, we've got a brief peak that's easily missed, followed by a decline through multiple support levels, which turns into price swings on the 6th. On the 7th, there's an important range that's highlighted on a multi-day scale. Most likely to the upside there because we've got a prominent peak there on a 1-month scale. Then there's a fast sudden move higher on the 8th. Notable reversal or either a notable reversal on the 9th, notable on a multi-day scale, or it'll be multiple reversals notable on a 1-day chart or something like that. But either way, notable reversal there and a prominent peak with a trough towards the end of the day. On the 10th, a crest that forms when we turn over and we decline down to and through support, and then we do a U-shaped reversal below that support, break through it to the upside and reuse it as support. Notable peak there on the 9th, 10th. Or the 10th, 11th, excuse me. On the 11th, we should see some sideways rotation, another prominent peak, and then a trough towards the end of the day. On the 12th, multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance, turning into a decline that enters into the 13th, and then out of the decline, big move from the bottom of the range all the way to the top of a range. Excuse me, big out of the decline, an unexpected move higher, not necessarily to the top of a range, but unexpected move higher. And then we have sideways rotation on the 14th that ends with a fast sudden move higher, taking us into a peak at the end of the day. Another notable move. It looks like we probably have a rally into key resistance there, that peak towards the end of the day on the 14th, and then we break down from that peak with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down, taking us into the 15th, and then out of that decline, big move to the upside, taking us back to a peak at the end of the day on the 15th. Most likely we decline from that peak into the 16th, and we successfully find support there on the 16th. Pop and drop on the 17th, a decline from a peak on the 18th, down to and through support to meet another support, and we rotate sideways along that second support. A lot of price change covered on the 19th into and or out of some sideways rotation along a multi-day support. Looks like we sideways rotate into the 19th, from the 18th into the 19th, and then there's a huge move to the upside early in the day, taking us to a prominent peak. And then from there, we might have more sideways rotation. It looks like it's a little mixed, but either way, we end up at a trough on the cusp of the 19th, 20th, a prominent peak and a prominent trough there around the 19th, 20th. The decline into that trough is followed by a big move from the bottom of range all the way to the top of a range, and then we do bumping along resistance sideways on the 21st, possibly breaking through a meeting and like going to a higher price level and then bumping along resistance sideways some more. Peak towards the end of the day. A lot of price change covered on the 22nd, taking us. We might decline from the peak on the 21st into a trough early in the day on the 22nd, in which case we'd have a huge move to the upside midday on the 22nd, or it might be that we decline from. It could be that we decline from a peak midday on the 22nd significantly into a trough, but that's like the less likely of the alternate for the day. Most likely sharp drop and then a big move to the upside. A breakout early in the day on the 23rd that doesn't hold. We have a U-shaped dip that forms between that breakout peak and a peak that seems to form on the 24th when we have a rally that increases with momentum moving forward in time into that peak. And then we have three crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level on the 25th. The third cross is usually to the upside, confirming a bullish trend. It doesn't necessarily look like that's the case here. We have a prominent move higher, full retracement on the 26th with a peak early in the day. And then there's a prominent trough on the 27th, a rally into key resistance, and then abruptly we turn around and we fall back down, probably past the point at which the rally into the resistance started. And then, so that decline probably takes us into another prominent trough on the 28th, and then a big move to the upside on the 28th out of that trough, probably out of oversold territory. And then the 29th, we have a period of volatility and a sharp drop that stands out in that period of volatility. Another prominent trough there on the 29th, and then out of a decline on the 30th, a big move from the bottom of a range all the way to the top of a range. The sneak preview for May, we have sideways fluctuating decline preceding a notable rally and a prominent trough on a 1-year chart scale. All right, so I'm going to get into one of the best trades that I see here, guys. But remember, I do not recommend trading this stuff alone. You should just use this as like a guide to show. Like, just follow this like it's a paper trade and see that you can actually make money doing this. For the most part, you can. We're wrong sometimes. Most of the time, we're right. So, make sure that you follow through on that by, actually watching it. But you don't want to trade this alone, guys, because if there's plus or minus a day here or there of wiggle room, you're going to need guidance which you get from the Discord trade alert. So I'll show you how to get all that stuff, as well as the timing of the highest high for the month as part of the monthly access subscription at the very end of this video. As far as best trades, all right, well, there's a pretty good day trade in here, guys. So on the second, provided we see on the first a decline through multiple supports into a trough early in the day on the second, I would say if there's a rally out of that trough early on the second and we break into like a new high for the month thus far, which doesn't need to be much of a move because it's the second day of the month. But either way, when we break into a new high for the month thus far on the second, that will be a signal to enter. We probably break through resistance momentarily and then break back down through it shortly thereafter. That would be a signal to enter into a long position, into a short position. and he would close that short position probably at the very end of the day. If that doesn't work out, there's likely to be a backup on the 4th, but that would be after an opportunity to add to the position. And rule of thumb when trading SOMeta, do not wait for backup entries. Always take that first profit and then reposition those profits into another promising trade. All right, guys, so for the timing of the highest high, the lowest low, and all of the best trades that we expect to see throughout the month, that's all part of the monthly access subscription. We also are going to get into the SHIB 1 year and the multi-year in the monthly access version to kind of to see where the monthly sits in the grand scheme of things. The way that you get that monthly access subscription, you go to our website, Tarot for Traders, hover over Order Now, click on Subscriptions. Monthly access subscription. It gets you everything that early access has, which is the earliest access to all of our public posts you can get. We drop them right here in this channel. This is the earliest that all of our public posts on YouTube come out here first. It gives you access to the live stream questions, which people ask questions all throughout the week, and then on the next available live stream, I answer those questions. It also gets you the day trade alerts for SPY and the swing trade alerts for SPY, as well as those chart drawings that I was showing you earlier. All of that as part of the monthly access subscription, and then you've also got all of these tickers and crypto that are covered on a monthly basis with day-by-day chart behavior and highs and lows and all the trades that we expect. A Discord trade alert channel for each of these, a chart for each of these with chart drawings. All that stuff is monthly access. Currently, this is $300 a month. This will not remain at $300 for much longer, guys. So congratulations if you grab it at this price level. You'll have that for the lifetime of your subscription. And much love and appreciation, everybody supporting the channel. You guys are really the foundation, allowing us to put out as much content as we do. Make sure to be that person with integrity. Follow through on the rule of karma, guys. You do that at the resources tab. You know where to go. You know what to do. And blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one.